Judges chapter 13. Once again, the Israelites did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. So the Lord handed them over to the Philistines for 40 years. A certain man from Jorah was named Manoah. He was from the tribe of Dan. Manoah had a wife who wasn't able to have children. The angel of the Lord appeared to Manoah's wife. He said, "You are not able to have children, but you are going to become pregnant. You will have a baby boy. Make sure you do not drink any kind of wine. Also make sure you do not eat anything that is unclean. You will become pregnant. You will have a son. The hair on his head must never be cut. That is because the boy will be a Nazarite. He will be set apart to God from the day he is born. He will take the lead in saving Israel from the power of the Philistines." Then the woman went to her husband. She told him, "A man of God came to me. He looked like an angel of God. His appearance was so amazing that it filled me with great wonder. I didn't ask him where he came from, and he didn't tell me his name. But he said to me, 'You will become pregnant. You will have a son, so do not drink any kind of wine. Do not eat anything that is unclean. That is because the boy will be Nazarite. He will belong to God in a special way from the day he is born until the day he dies.' Then Manoah prayed to the Lord. He said, 'Pardon your servant, the Lord. I beg you to let the man of God you sent to us come again. He told us we would have a son. We want the man of God to teach us how to bring up the boy.' God heard Manoah, and the angel of God came again to the woman. He came while she was out in the field, but her husband Manoah wasn't with her. The woman hurried to her husband. She told him, 'He's here. The man who appeared to me the other day is here.' Manoah got up and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he spoke to him. He said, 'Are you the man who talked to my wife?' 'I am,' he replied. So Manoah asked him, 'What will happen when your words come true? What rules should we follow for the boy's life and work?' The angel of the Lord answered him. He said, 'Your wife must do everything I have told her to do. She must not eat anything that comes from grapevines. She must not drink any kind of wine. She must not eat anything that is unclean. She must do everything I have commanded her to do.' Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, 'We'd like you to stay and eat. We want to prepare a young goat for you.' The angel of the Lord replied, 'Even if I stay, I will not eat any of your food. But if you still want to prepare a burnt offering, you must offer it to the Lord.' Manoah didn't realize it was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah asked the angel of the Lord a question. 'What is your name?' He said, 'We want to honor you when your word comes true.' The angel replied, 'Why are you asking me what my name is? You will not be able to understand it.' Manoah got a young goat. He brought it along with the grain offering. He sacrificed it on a rock to the Lord. Then the Lord did an amazing thing. It happened while Manoah and his wife were watching. A flame blazed up from the altar toward heaven. Then the angel of the Lord rose up in the flame. When Manoah and his wife saw it, they fell with their faces to the ground. The angel of the Lord didn't show himself again to Manoah and his wife. Then Manoah realized it was the angel of the Lord. 'We are gonna die,' he said to his wife. 'We've sinned God.' But his wife answered, 'The Lord doesn't want to kill us. If he did, he wouldn't have accepted a burnt offering and a grain offering from us. He wouldn't have shown us all these things. He wouldn't have told us we were gonna have a son.' Later, the woman had a baby boy. She named him Samson. And he grew up. The Lord blessed him. The Spirit of the Lord began to work in his life. It happened while he was Mahanaim. That place is between Zorah and Eshtaol. Judges chapter 14. Samson went down to Timnah. There he was a young Philistine woman. When he returned, he spoke to his father and mother. He said, 'I've seen a Philistine woman in Timnah. Get her for me. I want her to be my wife.' His father and mother replied, 'Can we find a wife for you among your relatives? Isn't there one among any of our people? Do you have to go to the Philistine to get a wife? They are not God's people. They haven't even been circumcised.' But Samson said to his father, 'Get her for me. She is the right one for me.' Samson's parents didn't know that the Lord wanted things to happen this way. He was working out his plans against the Philistines. That's because the Philistines were ruling over Israel at that time. Samson went down to Timnah. His father and mother went with him. They approached the vineyards of Timnah. Suddenly, a young lion came roaring towards Samson. Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on Samson. So he tore the lion apart with his bare hands. So did it as easily as he might have torn a young goat apart. But he didn't tell his father or mother what he had done. Then he went down and talked with the woman. He liked her. Sometime later, he was going back to marry her, but he returned off the road to look at the lion's dead body. He saw large numbers of bees and some honey in it. He dug out the honey with his hands. He ate it as he walked along. Then he joined his parents again. He gave them some honey. They ate it too, but he didn't tell them he had to take it from the lion's dead body. Samson's father went down to see the woman. Samson had a feast prepared there. He was following the practice of a young man when they married their wives. When the people saw Samson, they gave him 30 men to be his companions. Let me tell you a riddle. Samson said to the companions, the feast will last for 7 days. Give me the answer to the riddle before the feast ends. If you do, I will give you 30 linen shirts. I will also give you 30 sets of clothes. But suppose you cannot give me the answer, then you must give me 30 linen shirts. You must also give me 30 sets of clothes. Tell us your riddle. They said, let you hear it. Samson replied, out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the stone came something sweet. For 3 days they couldn't give him the answer. On the first day they spoke to Samson's wife. Get your husband to explain the riddle for us. They said, if you don't, we will burn you to death. We will burn up everyone in your family. Did you invite us here to steal our property? Then Samson's wife threw herself on him. She sobbed, you hate me. You don't really love me. You have given my people a riddle, but you haven't told me the answer. I haven't even explained it to my father or mother, he replied. So why should I explain it to you? She cried during the whole 7 days the feast was going on. So on the 7th day, he finally told her the answer to the riddle. That's because she kept on asking him to tell her. Then she explained the riddle to her people. Before sunset on the 7th day of the feast, the men of the town spoke to Samson. They said, what is the sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? Samson said to them, you have plowed with my young cow. If you haven't, you wouldn't have known the answer to my riddle. Then the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully on Samson. He went down to Ashkelon. He struck down 30 of their men. He took everything they had with them, and he gave their clothes to those who had explained the riddle. Samson was very angry as he returned to his father's home. Samson's wife was given to someone else. She was given to a companion of Samson. The companion had helped him at the feast.